Hello, Wake Up New Zealand, Sakey speaking. Well, I don't often buy a newspaper, but today I had to buy this one, New Zealand Herald, and on the front page reads Schools in for COVID-19 jabs. Here we are, people. Well, I'll go over what that article says. Parents are urged to talk with their teens in face of COVID-19 jab rollout. Urged. Listen to the language, the words of coercion. It's important to really analyse that because the propaganda machine really does use a lot of coercive words. So urge. A matter of urgency. Do it now. It's important. It's urgent. And it says parents talk with their children. Must be important for parents to talk to their children. Parents know best. So get to the parents. Tell them they've got to talk to their children. And parents are often sucked in because they believe the mass media machine. They believe the propaganda machine. They believe the misinformation. They don't really go to the Ministry of Health website and decide to have a look there. Not everyone does that. They just look at the newspaper and say, oh, well, it must be okay. We need to do that. But there's many people, many parents, who won't do that, and they absolutely refuse to have their kids put through human trials and human experiments. If it weren't for the propaganda machine of this misinformation, coercion, manipulation, many people would not have had this COVID-19 jab, who have had it now, and they certainly wouldn't put their kids through or take part in human experiments. So many people are actually sucked into the propaganda machine and not aware of the facts. This urgency requiring a speeding, compelling action to do it now. Get your child jabbed now. It's so important. So coercion, subtle coercion. New Zealand Herald, amid confirmation of COVID-19 jabs for 12 to 15-year-olds. It's all happening. Keep your children safe. It's urgent. Human trials. No promise of safety. It's your children being guinea pigs. All for the sake of the World Health Organization, the UN, and Jacinda Ardern and her political cronies in the toilet bowl of Wellington. So the Herald, the rollout of the plan is to ensure 265,000 teenagers join the rest of the population in being vaccinated. Well, are the rest of the population going to be vaccinated? I know in 2020, last year, December the 17th, Ardern was interviewed by Bloomberg News, and she said she was going to have the entire population of New Zealand vaccinated. So, this is what you've got. What she said is not necessarily true because the whole population will not be vaccinated. This is misinformation. No one can promise you health. You won't suffer serious injury. You won't be harmed. Your health won't be harmed. Cannot promise you that. Cannot promise you that you won't have serious side effects or even permanent ones. So, Herald School Principals Association, Vaughan Cullett, welcomes news that teens will be vaccinated. He must be bloody insane. What an insane thing to say. He's happy about it, that all these teenagers, 255,000 teenagers, are going to be guinea pigs, part of human experiments. So he said it's a great plan to put young people in that place where they can't be assured their health won't be harmed. So he said it's a great plan in line with other mass immunisation plans like measles and polio. But this is different. These are human experiments, human trials with lots of unknowns. This is reckless and insane. One size never fits all, and we don't know what the outcome is going to be. So, because, people who take part in human trials and human experiments, they always risk more harm. They're the first heads on the chopping block. So who the hell will put their kids through human experiments where they know nothing about what the effects are going to be, the harm? So the Herald goes on to report the more vaccinated, the better for everyone. However, the Ministry of Health states they expect more adverse effects as more are vaccinated. So increasing vax is better for everyone. That's what they say. They know diddly squat because they don't know. They don't know what's going to happen because they want the whole population to be guinea pigs to know what's going to happen. And they've already said there will be increased adverse results so they can get more data. So Judge Andrew Beecroft, Children's Commissioner, said it's the children's right to have the very best health care. He doesn't know what the outcomes will be. They don't know whether this is good health care. So far, I don't see it's good health care. It's human experiments. They're human trials. He said children have the right to the best medical health care. Yes, they do have the right, but don't deserve to be guinea pigs. They don't care about your children's health. I'm sure they don't. Otherwise, they wouldn't risk their health to be guinea pigs for their human experiments. So Beecroft states, get medical advice as to COVID-19 vax. But even the medical professionals don't know because they're relying on mass guinea pigs to tell them what the results are going to be. And Ardern says safety is the key. Well, she must have lost the key because she can't guarantee their safety either. So, and back in December last year, Bloomberg report, an article in their newspaper, she's going to have the entire population vaccinated. That's what she said. So her key to safety, well, ignore that one. She's not kind. This is risking children's health. So what does the Ministry of Health say? It says many parents are still hesitant, concerned as to adverse reactions. And some say they would never have their children vaccinated for COVID. Ashley Bloomfield talks about mass vaccination rollouts. Vaccinologist at Auckland Uni states trials going on overseas for 6 to 11-year-olds. More data for Kiwi kids, she says. So Kiwi kids will continue to be guinea pigs to get more data too. So epidemiologist Professor Michael Baker refers to the vaccine of Kiwi kids 12 to 15 age group, eventually then on to infants. Now remember, Michael Baker works very closely with the government. They are contracted out through the uni to the government. And Baker says, it's important for any population. This is insane. Does he care about kids going through these human experiments, human trials as guinea pigs? No, he does not. He's into research and pushing for what the government wants. So he again says, facts will protect children and those around them, grandparents and other vulnerable people with serious illness. That's rubbish. That's a lie. It's misinformation. It's manipulation and it's coercion, because that's a subtle coercion. If you don't have the vax, others won't be protected. You will be to blame. The blame and shame game. Look after your family. If you don't care about your family. They will be ill. Can you hear the coercion going on there? That subtle coercion. So, child psychologist Hiran Thabru, she's a pediatrician. Vax for teens will provide an increased sense of security. Let's look at that from a psychologist's point of view and the underlying messages there. A predictable routine can give a sense of security. That's what increased sense of security is defined as. Increased sense of security is defined as a predictable routine can give a sense of security. In other words, this is a false sense of security. That's what it really means. Ministry of Health website data provided only up to the 15th of May this year states the following. Adverse effects. Non-valid reports not included. 557 new non-serious adverse effects and 24 new serious adverse effects. No, there is no legal mandatory reporting of adverse effects. So health professionals and any others do not have to report it. It doesn't say they legally have to, and it's not compulsory, and it's not mandatory. So the information provided is limited. So total reports of adverse reaction post-COVID, COVID-19 jabs, 3,089 non-serious reports of adverse effects. Adverse effects, 125 serious. So what were some of those that were serious? So let's look and see what ones they actually do talk about and that document on the Ministry of Health website. So first they start with anaphylaxis. It's the most severe form of allergic reaction, often affecting several parts of the body, including either breathing difficulties or a sudden drop in blood pressure. That can happen as well. So myocardial pericarditis. Well, pericarditis, that's the heart, can range from mild illness that gets better on its own to a life-threatening condition. Fluid build-up around the heart and poor heart function can complicate the disorder. It's serious stuff. So they had 11 with the severe breathing problems, and they had 6 with this what could be a life-threatening condition with poor heart function, and there was 6 thrombosis, coronary thrombosis, defined as the formation of blood clots inside a blood vessel of the heart. This blood clot may be able to travel, restrict blood flow within the heart, leading to heart tissue damage, also known as a heart attack. So there were 6 of those reported. There were 6 reported as embolism. That's a blockage in one of the arteries of the heart, of the body, due to a blood clot of a broken off from a location in the body. The blockage may limit or stop blood flow. That's embolism. So when a blood clot gets caught in one of the arteries that go from the heart to the lungs, that's called a pulmonary embolism. So that can also happen as well. The clot blocks normal blood flow. The blockage can cause serious problems like damage to lungs and low oxygen levels in your blood. And there was 5 of those reported. There were 6 deep vein thrombosis, and that's DVT, and it's a serious condition that occurs when blood clots form in a vein located deep inside the body. So that's a blood clot, is a clump of blood that's turned into a solid state. Deep vein blood clots typically form in your thigh or your lower leg, but can also develop in other areas of the body. So there was 6 of those reported, and 6 hemorrhage, escape of the blood from a ruptured blood vessel. Bleeding can be severe, and you should seek help straight away because it could be an emergency with suspect internal bleeding, and this can become life-threatening. So there was 6 of those, and 6 strokes. So a stroke occurs when the blood supply to the part of the brain is interrupted or reduced, preventing brain tissue from getting oxygen and nutrients. And that's really serious stuff. So brain cells begin to die in minutes. A stroke is a medical emergency and prompt treatment is crucial. Early action can reduce brain damage and other complications. And if not quick enough, it does cause very serious complications. So there was 6 of those. 7 adverse effects with Bell's palsy, facial. That's a facial Bell's palsy. That's an inflammation around the facial nerve, and the pressure causes a facial paralysis, and it usually affects just one side. The other one, there was 7 of those, and 7 herpes zoster. And that's a viral infection that causes chickenpox, and herpes virus can live in the body for years after the case of chickenpox is gone and re-emerge as painful blisters of shingles. And that's what that is, 7 of those. So safety of vax is assessed by MAX vaccine rollout of COVID-19. Mass guinea pigs right across New Zealand, including teenagers and children, because children will be the next ones, and even infants later on. So the more guinea pigs, the better. So pharmaceutical companies hold confidential information when it comes to safety. This is agreed upon with MedSafe when they purchase the vaccines. That's all part of the deal. So those pharmaceutical companies, the manufacturers of vaccines, who make that huge wealth, don't have to tell you in their studies if they have found there was adverse reactions, whether they were serious or not. They have that confidentiality clause. So vax to the max will make them really wealthy. The more they get vaxxed, the more wealth they gain, these vaccine manufacturers. So how long will the vax work for? So Ministry of Health states they don't know. Does the vax prevent, reduce transmission? Ministry of Health, they don't know. Will vax work for other COVID mutations? Ministry of Health, don't know. Can I find a quality data on safety of vax by MedSafe? No, not really. because we have a confidentiality clause with the vaccine company because they're allowed to keep that confidential. They don't tell us. So the only information they can get is through mass vaccine trials right across New Zealand, and the more people who are vaccinated, more people who have adverse effects, the more they know about it. So they've got to have lots of guinea pigs. So data by MedSafe, is it by way out? Okay, so data by MedSafe, do they do trials? No, they don't. They rely on the pharmaceutical companies that have a confidentiality clause that don't have to tell you a damn diddly squat. Does vax affect fertility? This is a question on Ministry of Health. It doesn't say yes and it doesn't say no. It avoids the question by saying, in studies in animals for confirmatory vax, did not show effect in fertility. So they don't know. What studies have MedSafe done for themselves? None. That's what they say. They review data from vax manufacturers, by the way, who has confidentiality and don't have to tell you. MedSafe relying on mass human experiments for outcomes as to safety. Mass population of guinea pigs, that's what they're relying on. Reporting adverse side effects, not mandatory. So you've got limited information to know what is actually happening out there. So, pregnancy. Are Pfizer and Moderna vaccines safe for pregnant women? Major study confirms. 7th of May 2021, CDC consistently withheld from people who are pregnant and want to vax. All clinical trials excluded people who were pregnant. No safety data was available for those who want to make that choice, who are pregnant. Other research reports on vax trials state there is very little data available to assess safety of the vax in pregnancy. So we don't know if it's safe for pregnant women or not and the unborn child. So back to that Herald report. It's obvious. Massive vax rollout that includes guinea pigs is needed. A whole population of guinea pigs is needed to take part in human experiments before knowing whether the vax is safe or not. And so far, there's no guarantees. So will you consent for your child to take part in human experiments, human vaccine trials, to be guinea pigs? To be guinea pigs to appease the UN World Health Organization, to appease Ardern and her political cronies in the cesspit of Wellington. Will you allow your children to be guinea pigs? If it were not for the massive amount of misinformation, coercion, manipulation, the propaganda machine spewing it out, would you even think about taking part in human experiments yourself when you can't be guaranteed that your health won't be seriously affected, where you could even die? Because they don't promise, no one promises you that these facts won't take your life. There's no promises. They know nothing. So please wake up, New Zealand. Wake up. Because, as far as I'm concerned, this is what I believe. Jacinda Ardern and many of her political cronies, they have no conscience. They have no shame. They take no blame. Now, this is a very dangerous situation because that means they can do anything to anyone and not blink an eyelid. And that's a very dangerous trait to have, no conscience. So Wake Up New Zealand, please share, and subscribe.